All right, everyone. The British government has officially gone completely insane. Suella Braverman has been sacked. She was, of course, Home Secretary. And then David Cameron is now in as Foreign Secretary, so he's come in a different role. The UK's government's having some problems holding its cabinet together, and people are suffering effectively a fucking nervous breakdown because they don't understand why Braverman was kicked, and I'll get to why. And the official story you're getting from some Rishi Sunak friendly characters is self-evidently not true. Bringing David Cameron in is arguably worse. Yeah, that's a really great idea. He's so well liked in the UK. He's such a powerful and upright figure. Everyone loves him. Now, I think that most of them fucking hate his guts, including people who once supported him. Now, Suella Braverman ostensibly is being let go of for prior comments with regards to poverty and homelessness and stuff, saying effectively that homelessness is self-inflicted, that people effectively choose it. It's a lifestyle choice, specifically, she said. But the timing of the sacking lines up more appropriately with her complaining about a two-tiered policing system that is pertinent to Hamas and Israeli protests and so forth going on. The involvement of British patriots there. You had the police, for instance, harassing people for flying the flag of St. George. Meanwhile, across the street you've got people with the Hamas flag and nothing is done about it. And the cops have weighed in on several times on this when queried. Said, well, they're just too numerous. There's nothing we can do about those Gaza protesters over there. But there's only two of you flying the St. George flag. Somebody might find it insensitive, so take it the fuck down. Yeah, it makes no sense. And trying to blame it on her comments with regards to the homeless, etc. Okay, I oppose such commentary as well. I have pity for people who are poor because I spent most of my life poor. I know what it's like to be close to homelessness, and I certainly know what it's like to be in poverty. You might blame your government for creating the conditions in which that is a prevalent problem, although most people, for some odd reason, think that more government is the solution. So the leftist proposal, anyway. Here's the thing. The British government is effectively, by waiting until the policing comments, not sacking her before for those comments that actually are something that the average person would look askance to, they're effectively saying, you daft cunt. You're allowed to insult the homeless, but don't you dare insult the British police. You spastic. It's perfectly fine if you dish on the poor. Somebody who's, some 30-year-old mother of two who's literally living on the street because of poor government policy and poor economic conditions. That's okay with us. You went a step too far when you said that the police could be biased. Well, we have the same problem in the United States and literally everywhere else in the world. In fact, I've talked about it ultimately about a dozen times in the last year. Differential enforcement. And it's not just the police, by the way. It's the police, it's investigators, it's prosecutors, it's judges, or in the case of the UK, I think magistrates, and the bias that they show, whereby one person can fundamentally be doing something wrong, or they're not, and another person does or doesn't do the same thing, but they're treated differently. So you get one person with the right political views. The best example was during the lockdown era. Do you remember that time during the lockdowns when in some cities protesting was effectively banned? Public gatherings of more than two people were verboten, but it didn't apply to BLM or similar groups, and Antifa managed to work its way in there in some cases. Do you remember that? That's differential enforcement. You're fundamentally doing the same thing. We're ascribing the same fundamental risk, but they can do it and you cannot. Because, by the way, the whole point was to flood the streets with the narrative that BLM was popular at the time, among other groups. Yeah, if you're protesting and you have a D after your name, it's perfectly acceptable. If Maxine Waters wants to go get her hair did during the lockdown, then we don't have anything to say about it. It's actually happened on numerous occasions. You remember Lori Lightfoot or Nancy Pelosi, and one of them still has a job. And the other one, I'm sure, will be an MSNBC consultant sometime soon. Differential enforcement. The suggestion that it doesn't exist is completely asinine. You can see it every day. A person is assaulted, and the person gets a slap on the wrist because of the color of their skin, not the content of their character usually, or their political views or something like that. Or because they were the right gender. Well, you know, she's smaller than him. So the fact that she sucker punched him and tried to kill him with a hammer, well, she's not as much of a threat as if the roles were reversed. So instead of giving her 20 years in prison, we're just giving her probation. I hate to tell you that this is not hyperbole. The UK somehow takes the same problem that we've got in the United States and injects it with steroids, it seems. I've seen the footage. And unlike reporting from Gaza or something like that, I can actually go through it myself and get a good read on whether it's actually in context because they're speaking English. Well, some of the time, and if they're not speaking English, then the police never seem to go up to them and bother questioning them about what they're doing or tell them to stop. That's kind of the point that appears to have been made. And then enter David Cameron. Again, one of the most disliked and disgraced figures within British politics. Why on earth would you summon him to work in the cabinet? I'm saying this as an American, okay? I don't know every in and out of British politics, but I speak with enough British people and I watch enough British media and content creation and legacy, by the way, to know that David Cameron is going to be a lightning rod for criticism. What are you smoking? I mean, whatever it is, it must be pretty expensive. I'm assuming it's at least heroin or something like that. Rishi Sunak got loaded before he made that decision. Hell, you could probably get away with sacking Braverman under obvious, bullshit circumstances. Again, it wasn't for telling millions of people to naff off. It was because of her comments with regards to the police, because people right now are pissed at them and not without good reason. You might have gotten away with that, but then you hired David Cameron. It doesn't... I know enough about British politics to understand why that's a bad idea. Just literally Google the dude. Just look, well, don't Google him, but look him up on a better search engine. Look up David Cameron and look like a laundry list of the problems that his political career have heralded. I don't understand why. I'm assuming that Sunak is just insane. The stress of the job has gotten to him. He's gone spastic, and now he just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. When you need Cameron to bail out your cabinet, oh Christ, what a weird day. That's about all. Peace out.